This is Prep Period, an all-sports podcast by the Ventura County Star and the people at VCS Press.
Hello and welcome to episode 19. I said it. Episode 19 of Prep Period, the Ventura County Stars. Ooh, Joe, are you talking? I can't hear you already.
Not yet.
There we go.
Test. 1, 2.
We're good.
You want to redo the intro?
I'm gonna redo the whole intro. You ready? All right.
Okay. Wait, let me put my cup down.
Hello and welcome to episode 19 of Prep Period, the Ventura County Stars All Preps, All Sports podcast. My name is Dominic Massimino. He is Joe Curley. Oh, I gotta do to the other way. You're to my left. He is Joe Curley. We are sports reporters here at the Ventura County Star. Long time no see, Prep Period viewers. We took an extended break from the show, but we are back. We are ready for this winter sports season, ready to attack another season of awesome stories with you guys and talk about them. But yeah, I mean, happy holidays to everybody. Hope everyone had a restful break and hope you're ready to hear Joe and I gab a lot more in the year 2026.
Yeah, I think we surprised ourselves with how much there is to talk about. I guess that's what happens when you take a couple weeks off, and the news does not stop even when we take our rare breaks. So as our boss likes to complain, they do play a lot of games during the holidays.
Yep.
So
it's been a lot going on.
Kind of sum up what's happened and start pointing our sails toward winter season.
Yeah, this time of year is always a special one for us, a special one for all sports reporters. I feel like because you have that pre-holidays, pre-New Year's time where all these teams are playing. For basketball, you're playing your non-league schedule. You're at all these tournaments. You're kind of testing yourself against a lot of teams from out of the area, and then after the new year, we hit the ground running and we're getting ready for league and basketball for most leagues. Some have already started. So yeah, this will be a fun opportunity for us to kind of discuss what has happened, like you said, Joe, and kind of get ourselves ready as much as getting you guys ready for what is to come and all the exciting stuff.
So before we, look toward 2026, let's take a breath, a moment, and look backwards towards 2025. And why don't you give me, just off the top of your head, your memorable couple stories of your first full season, your first full year as a Star sports reporter. That full year, you've now completed the calendar, and you know what it's like. And your rookie season is now over.
Damn. I had not thought of it that way. I hit the October 1st mark, which was my 1 year at the Star, and I was like, oh, that's a full year. But it's true, the full calendar year all the way through is a milestone. Yeah, it was an awesome year in sports. It's not just saying that. It really felt like there were some incredible stories for us this season. Looking back, I feel like there's always a little recency bias because you, at least as a young reporter. Joe, you probably don't know nothing about that, but as a young reporter, gotta get my digs off early on in the show.
It happens to us old guys too.
As a young reporter, you kind of feel like whatever you just wrote is your best work because you're growing, trying to get better, and but yeah, there were a lot of stories, especially in this football season, that kind of jumped out. I wrote about Grace School football. The awesome Williams brothers there, Jake Williams, the running back and defensive back, and Riley Williams, the quarterback, who tragically lost their dad just before the football season started this past year. And it was part of kind of just a series of tragic events that struck that very small program. Two other parents of players this season going into the year passed away. and they go on to have one of the more magical runs of any of our high school football teams. We'll talk about that looking forward, or as we continue to look back into the past year and the crazy stories that happened. But one of those stories that just you talk to the folks involved who are like so brave to even be willing to talk to a stranger about something so personal like that, and that was an incredible story and an inspiring one, just hearing from those boys and kind of how they handled it, how the community came together around them. That was a special one. And then one I'm really proud of was this past spring, writing about Dean Barkman, the so-called blind pitcher at Royal High, who I got an email from his dad, was the way this story started. And you get a lot of emails from parents, and sometimes sometimes there's good information in there, sometimes maybe not so much. But I remember reading that email and just reading a couple words that kind of jumped off the page, caught my eye, so to speak. and so learned about Dean, who had a breakout season as a pitcher for Royal, who was at the time our number one ranked baseball team this spring. He had a case of what's called strabismus, which has to do with essentially there's a disconnect between the eye and the brain, something in the ocular nerve that's like, not connecting. Since he was a kid, he had it. It led to basically near blindness in one of his eyes. And he goes on essentially using muscle memory and one eyeball to have one of the more excellent pitching seasons out there. So that was a really fun story as well. I think those are probably my two from the year that I'm most proud of.
Imagine stepping in the box against a pitcher who throws like Dean and doesn't have depth perception.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's
Who's
that's
throwing
an
heat. Yeah.
I mean, we covered some amazing stuff in 2025, but probably the most memorable story I wrote was a story it's kind of an atypical story. I had been aware of London Leffler, the Newbury Park freshman, for a couple years, and as a softball star, and she kind of arrived at Newbury Park and wasn't playing softball, and I'm like, well, what's the deal? And she was playing freshman baseball. She was playing varsity basketball. She was playing. She was an all county. That I picked her to our second team all county as a freshman for flag football.
Yep.
So she was playing those three other sports. I knew she grew up playing soccer. So essentially, she wanted to play soccer at Newbury Park and couldn't fit it in the schedule because basketball and soccer essentially is the same time during winter season. So she essentially played 5 sports, and I have kind of an update to that story. I think this spring she is and first of all, big time softball recruit. She's being recruited by some of the biggest softball programs already. I know Tennessee has contacted her. I know Notre Dame.
Wow.
So I know that there's early process. I don't think it's very early in her recruiting process. So she's playing clubs, she's playing travel softball. But I don't think she's going to play baseball or softball this spring. What I'm hearing is she's actually going to play track. Run. But the question is,
you don't play track, Joe. You don't play track.
She's going to compete in track. And so that London is going to be someone you can cover this spring, I think, because I think she may try to do the heptathlon.
Wow.
So
that's so that totally tracks. That's crazy. Yeah. That's really interesting. He joins.
So we'll see. It's not. I don't know if it's for. I don't know if it's for real yet, but at some point she could just pick up the bat and join that softball team and be one of the best softball players in the county. But I know she had a really good travel softball season. She's right now playing basketball. So I
don't envy being a coach of any sport at Newbury Park right now. Just trying to be the one to win the recruiting battle to your program of such a talent.
She'll do it. Yeah, I think it's really more the issue is the breaks because they're all gas. London wants to play it all. She wanted to play soccer, and it didn't line up. So anyway, so there's a little update to one of my favorite stories was, because she's a catcher on the freshman baseball team. So, which is phenomenal and can play. So that it'll be interesting to see how she develops. She was a first, she was a first, and when we did all county for the fall, she was all county flag football. So
First team selection this
first
year.
team,
Wow. Yeah.
the first time.
That was also one of my favorite stories of the year, Joe. It was that was a
Thanks.
very fun read once that came out, just learning kind of all of the background of her story. And it's one of those stories too where you're like, man, we get 3 more years of covering this kid who's just going to keep doing crazy stuff. Like it's always exciting to see that.
Really, the sky's the limit. And then, let's just quickly run through some of the other, we'll wrap up 2025 with, just other memorable stories that we had to cover and events that happened, and just so we can kind of look at 2025 as a picture here before we rip the calendar down off the wall.
Mine's already
Football wise, we had a lot of turnover in coaching. The key one being Joey Ganecci stepping down as St. Bonaventure's coach in May, Troy Hill taking over that job. We also lost Ben McEnroe, Thousand Oaks. Right at the end of the season, Charlie Collins of Oaks Christian left, so that job is open. So we'll have to track what's happening with the Lions going forward, because that will obviously uh, be a hire that affects a lot of football teams in the county.
That'll be one of the biggest. I feel like one of the biggest off-season football stories that we will publish is just who takes that job and what it means for the Lions going forward. Such a tradition. And then recent listeners, viewers of the pod will be no stranger to the incredible runs that Pacifica, Ventura, and Grace all made this season, and Santa Paula for that matter. I mean, not quite as deep a run, but those 4 teams, lots of history there. It was for Santa Paula, reaching the semifinals for the first time in I think it was over 50 years, something like that.
Yeah, 62 years.
Yeah.
First time we've had 2 teams make the state championship bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the first time we had 3 teams make the state regional. So that was history. And then, we had the really interesting thing of Cameron Rising returning to Newbury Park as the offensive coordinator, 2-time Rose Bowl quarterback at Utah, and goes to help his former ball boy, Brady Smigel. That all kind of ends, on a down note. Brady Smigel, certainly the most productive high school football player in the history of Ventura County. And that's with missing his last 4 games plus postseason.
Yeah.
With his knee injury. Brady, we can't update it. Has graduated, is at Michigan, despite all the upheaval at Michigan. So he stayed committed to the Wolverines, and the Wolverines stayed committed to him, and so he's in college. So congratulations to Brady, who's I will have a story coming up on his. I was at his signing day last month at Newbury Park, and I'll have a story coming up on his transition to college and his recovery from that ACL injury.
Farewell to one of the all-time great football players in Ventura County history. And Joe, you did a great job covering him, covering his career. Another huge football story this season was the Westlake turnaround, going from they completed the 0-10 to 10-0 turnaround, which was just, completely unbelievable. You and Derry did a lot of work kind of tracking down the numbers on that.
And Mark Tennis of Cal High Sports was a big help too. Yeah.
Shout out. And then, the story in the Route 126 rivalry this season, you broke that news that it would be moving to Larrabee Stadium for the first time. I covered that game, the Fillmore Santa Paula rivalry, moving to a bigger venue. Stay tuned on whether that will continue in the future. That still has not been completely confirmed, nailed down. Is that correct, Joe?
What did you think well, somebody who you covered the previous game at Fillmore the previous year, right?
Yep.
And then you got the experience on campus, and then you got the experience at VC. And I know we mentioned not VC, Ventura High, and I know we talked about it that week, but you know, if it was up to you, what would you want to see for that rivalry going forward?
I think it should. I think it should stay at the small.
Put you on the spot.
No, 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 no.
I think what
It's
may
not. That's not a hard. It's not a hard answer for me. If I
okay.
like, I've covered two. You know what I mean. So it's like
Oh,
I don't have like tons of stuff to muddy the. It's like I covered one in a small, small venue at Fillmore and felt that energy and like, got to experience that. It was cool at Ventura High, and I think it was cool to have, whatever the added number. We had the math kind of figured out at some point. There were more people there, you know what I mean, than you could fit in,
yeah,
at either of those venues at Santa Paula or Fillmore. But there's
yeah.
something
They
about the
accomplished what they were trying to do. Yeah,
yes, but that's the thing is like, was what they were trying to do necessarily the best? I mean, they maximize the number of people who could be there. It's a community event. Like getting to watch that game is a special thing and an important thing. That's kind of the pro side. The con side is just I don't want to say exclusivity because like you don't want it to be an exclusive event, but like the stories that we would hear about people, lining up around the block, to get tickets before sunrise, you know what I mean, in these towns, and like the way that it became not just the game itself, but like the whole kind of circus of it all was it's sort of its own story. And I don't know, I appreciated the energy covering it in a smaller venue and feeling that kind of that feeling of like the electricity in the air of just so many people packed into a small place. That's my 2 cents. But
I think they may end up in a situation where when Santa Paula hosts, it's the bigger venue, and when Fillmore hosts, they may keep it at Fillmore.
yeah,
And so you might end up with both sides of it. Or it just might be the situation where they have a couple games in Ventura, a couple games at the bigger venue, and then go back to their campuses. But I don't know. We'll see. I know I think it was a success. I think it worked out the way, they thought if they held it at Ventura, that enough people would travel, that people that would normally not have access to the game, because it was people were offering me money for my press credential. Like people were getting shut out. They weren't being
wow,
able to go to the game.
yeah, and
And
that is a
so
problem.
it
Yeah,
was significant. And so, I could see both sides of it because it is extremely special. That game. So that game on their campus is extremely special. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be something we'll watch as things develop. All right, moving on to other high school stuff. Why don't you take the next ones?
yeah. What a joy. We were talking about how cool it was. I was talking about how cool it was to get my first full
Yeah.
calendar year. What a joy it was to get to watch Sadie Englehart's senior seasons in cross and in track. The big news was that Sadie was going to forego her senior track season, her eligibility for her senior track season as a Ventura High athlete. She still competed in high school races as a high schooler, but competed unattached. Gave her the opportunity to compete in some of these bigger races in professional fields, compete against college athletes and invitationals on the track. This past spring, she breaks the high school indoor national mile record at the Milrose Games. It was a huge accomplishment for her. And she was also named the Ventura County Female Athlete of the Year alongside none other than Shane Rosenthal, the beneficiary of so many of those
Yeah.
Brady Smigel
Speaking of Smigel,
prizes. Yeah. Um,
those were our male and female athletes of the year from the Ventura County Sports Hall of Fame, which that ceremony was in early June every year. So we'll have another one in a couple months. It's a really good moment if you want to buy tickets for that and join. It's really cool to see the inductees go in and then see the future as they move on to school. I covered Channel Islands High Boys Soccer winning Division 6 down CIF Division 6 down in South Orange County, which was an awesome event. Golden goal scored in extra time and in overtime. So so we had that was one of the big highlights of the winter. We had kind of a repeat champ on the other side of the winter
Yeah,
there.
Oak Park girls basketball goes and wins their third CIF Southern Section title in a row. Just an incredible performance by that team, led by Delaney White. This is a segue that to add something into these big high school stories that that we didn't put into the rundown. Delaney White, who was our player of the year, I believe it was either 22 or 23. It was her freshman season.
Yeah.
She has an incredible career at Oak Park, decides this offseason after winning her third straight CIF Southern Section title, corresponding with the departure of head coach William Burr to take the head coaching job at Harvard Westlake. Delaney White leaves, goes to Sierra Canyon, where she is playing this season. That was just the tip of the iceberg for basketball talent departing from the county or moving within the county. Another girls basketball player of the year in Mathis Dritz, Westlake High forward, super talented. She leaves the county, transfers, and then
she was our 24
she
player
was
of the
the
year.
24 player of the year. So
after Delaney,
and then Charisma Lewis, one of those top four. I mean, it's always been these past few years has been a top four players with Delaney, Mathis, Kai Stanlin at Ventura, and Charisma Lewis at Buena. She transfers from Buena within the county to Oak Park, forming a little bit of a super team we'll talk about in our little basketball roundup later in the show. But and then Charlie Adams, the stud freshman at St. Bonaventure that leads them all the way to the CIF Southern Section Championship game, he goes and transfers as well. So one of the biggest kind of talent drains from the county in one off season in quite some time in a basketball area like ours. So that was big news as well.
And then you brought this up, a very busy day we had in the spring covering Hueneme High softball, St. Bonaventure High softball, and Fillmore baseball, all winning CIF titles on the same day. Kind of a glorious day down in Orange County, or Long Beach in Orange County.
A marathon and, for John Dom.
That was a lot of fun. Tommy Alamillo in that amazing Fillmore comeback. Hueneme High with the great shutout victory. Really fast softball game to start that day off. And St. Bonaventure also, I think, was in extra innings as well. So those were three really dramatic games. That was a memorable day.
Yeah, it was not boring. And then Camarillo's Trinity Tipton, one of our great two-sport athletes, made some history. She was athlete of the year in both girls wrestling and track and field. A phenomenal thrower of discus and shot. Really talented kid. And you covered her. So I wrote the track player of the year feature. You wrote the wrestling player of the year feature. Yeah. And we both got to chat with her a little bit about that two-sport dominance.
I know we've had all county players sweep from cross and track. I can't, maybe water polo swim.
Yeah,
but
nothing. I mean,
going back
like that in different sports.
I can't remember one in the 30 years that we've been doing this, 35 years, whatever it is, that we've been doing all county to have a crossover like that. So that's a truly historic senior season by Trinity Tipton, who, if memory serves, is a thrower at Cal Poly right now.
I believe so.
Where'd she end up?
Yeah, I believe that was where she ended up.
You had a great story on Fillmore's athletic complex, the baseball field.
The Booty Sanchez. Booty Sanchez field.
That was such a great story. And you get it's one of the many stories last year that showed off your versatility, because not only are you out there putting a story together, but you're taking photos. That photo gallery was one of our most watched, most viewed photo galleries of the year. So Dom showing off his multimedia skills with that story. And then I had the ongoing saga that is releaguing something that we'll talk about in future pods, but essentially the league formats for all sports for the next 4 years and just for football for the next 2 years were put together. Those stories are on our site. Um, Not really huge news other than um, there was kind of a debate over what to do with Del Sol,
Mm.
which and
That's a big
I,
story too. Del Sol getting varsity sports for the first time this
yeah,
this year. Yeah.
here we go. And their boys soccer team, we'll get to that in boys soccer in the coming weeks. Their boys soccer team's playing really well. Has a big match later this week against Oak Park, I believe. And yeah, so there was that. And then, non-high school news, we like to follow our athletes when they move on. I get to go down to LA to cover Jaime Jaquez with the Miami Heat as a rookie playing against the Lakers. And then I went and covered his jersey retirement ceremony at Camarillo High, which was super cool. So that was a really big moment for the Camarillo High basketball community when you've got a favorite son who goes on and does so well and makes it big and then comes back. And I know Jaime continues to support the Scorps, which is, really awesome. Um, and then, he wasn't the only Akez that was making news.
Not at all. Yeah. Gabriella kind of carving out her own name, following in footsteps, but carving out her own, legacy there at UCLA, helping lead, as kind of the ultimate role player on that UCLA squad, helping lead the Bruins to the Final Four, clinching an Elite Eight win over LSU with a late three in I believe it was on the right wing. I'm replaying it in my mind.
Yeah,
was just an awesome play. Yeah,
it's on the wing.
yeah, we did a story about that, and yeah, the those Jaquez siblings coming home and putting on that camp. We got to talk with them, and just really cool.
That's right. We went out to Sports Academy to their camp in the summer, which was super, and they were really
Just
gracious
awesome.
and
Yeah,
that was super fun. And then we have to mention, since Gabriella's in the middle of her senior season right now with UCLA, who, what are they ranked? They're ranked one of the top teams in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and she's averaging 14.1 points. She's averaging almost 50% from three, according to these numbers. 2.2 assists, 6.2. She's third on the team in rebounds. So she's having just an
Doing it all.
absolute I don't even want to call it a breakout, but she's evolving as a player as she's readying for her professional career.
Yeah,
Much like her brother did, who was Pac-12 Player of the Year as a senior at UCLA.
indeed. And you did such great reporting on the TO grads, the TO alumni, Jacob Wilson and Max Muncy, playing for the A's. What can you tell us about them?
So Max Muncy debuted, who was our Player of the Year a couple of years ago for Thousand Oaks High, debuted with the A's. Jacob Wilson had debuted the previous year, but Jacob Wilson broke into the bigs and was in the, really kind of, um, you know, just a breakout player in baseball. He, was, in the running for the AL batting crown for much of the year. He hit 311 in 125 games, really solidified himself on that infield, that young, very talented infield that the A's had. He finished second in the AL Rookie of the Year voting to his teammate, Nick Kurz, who's a first baseman. So you've got Nick Kurz at first, you've got Jacob Wilson at short, and you could potentially have Max Muncy. I think Max is penciled in as the starting third baseman, I think, for the A's. So, I think Ventura County fans need to maybe take some trips up north to Sacramento to follow these A's a little bit. Muncy hit 9 home runs in his first 63 major league games, and they are the potential starting left side of the infield for the A's this year. We'll see as training camp comes. Let's hit this baseball one quick before we change sports. The other big baseball news Oaks Christian's Quentin Young joined his famous uncles as the top Major League Baseball draft pick. The Minnesota Twins drafted him 54th overall on July 13th. He did sign. He is, one of the top prospects for the Twins right now. We'll see again whether he's a shortstop or a third baseman or heads to the outfield as he, makes his way through the minor leagues. Um, and one other draft note, we had Noel Williams of Pacifica, 2019 state champ, and he led the nation in interceptions last year with Cal. He was drafted by the Chiefs 85th overall. Kind of had an up and down rookie year this year with obviously the like the Chiefs. But he did, I think Coach Moon shared a sack he had on a corner blitz last game. So he's starting to make some plays for the Chiefs as their season ended. And then, I mean, this would probably be the number one non-high school story of the year. I mean, Alex Singleton,
Yeah.
Broncos are the number one seed in football, number one seed in the AFC. We both, or you were at his camp this year. Talking, it's so funny these, the Hawkesses did it. Singleton's been doing it for a long time. He every year has his camp at Thousand Oaks High, and the local community gets a chance to hang out with him and learn from him. And so, he's one of the best, of our kind of pro stars who have gone out, who come back and give back to the community. And so it was, really hard to hear that he was diagnosed with testicular cancer in the middle of the NFL season. And just, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. The fact that he had surgery, missed, I think, one game, he came back
2 weeks
and
later.
will play
Yeah.
for the Broncos in the playoffs whenever, they play next week, 2 weeks.
Incredible
So
stuff. And he just had his first kid, baby girl, this past year as well. So just an incredible roller coaster year for him and for the Singleton family. And yeah, a wild story that speaks, I think, a lot to him, type of guy he is.
I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, he just unbelievable. He's been a lot of fun to follow. I mean, this is somebody who was a Montana State and CFL guy who everyone has told him no, and he's just not listened and just become one of the great linebackers in the NFL against all odds. So just a legend.
Hey man,
And yeah, why don't you
I love my track
yeah
and field news.
do these last couple?
A lot of professional track and field on the TV in the Massimino house this spring. Was a joy watching Newbury Park's Nico Young and Agora's Tara Woodall Davis, two of just the great products of Ventura County track and field and the surrounding area. Tara wins another national long jump title. And Nico goes on, sets the U.S. record for the outdoor 5K in Oslo, an incredible race. Both do huge things at the World Championships. So, yeah, that was really, really cool. It was the same year. Again, we talk about these camps. Tara has her, the
That's
World
right.
Davis Invitational. Tons of big performances from local high schoolers at that race. At that meet, I should say. So. Another person coming and giving back to the local athletes from the area they're from.
We're starting to creep up towards that Summer Olympiad in LA, where hopefully we have some local representation. So it's a very important story for us to track. Never mind 2025, but 2026 as we move forward.
I should say, yeah. I mean, Tara has been kind of the face of American long jumping, really for both men and women, because she's been so consistently winning those medals and winning world titles. This was really the breakout year for Nico Young, cementing himself.
As a pro.
Yeah, not just among the. I mean, he had that incredible 10K run in 2024, and then he comes back and comes out this season and sets a national record in the 5K. Takes down Grant Fisher, who's been sort of the face of American distance running for a long time. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's it's Nico Young's world now in track and field. We're just living in it.
And then we have to mention that Sadie Englehart, it's not on the rundown, but Sadie Englehart was part of the national championship team for NC State in her first season with the Wolfpack. So she hit the ground literally running as a collegian, and I think she was freshman of the year in the ACC at least. So they come out of our football haze and to figure out what else happened in these last couple months. But yeah, we'll be obviously tracking literally all these
Dude,
athletes
you
as
can't
we
hit two of those in the same segment, bro. That's a
did.
demerit for you. Yeah.
I don't think
Hitting
I
the ground
intentionally.
running or tracking. What's next for you, man? Come on.
Let's
Ridiculous.
just move on. Don't forget to, yeah. Don't forget to subscribe to the Star. Don't forget VCStar.com. Download the app. Um, and follow all our coverage over there. Subscribe to or follow VCS Preps on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. I have a feeling we're gonna really start as we look to 2026 that TikTok or Tic Tac, as I like to tease my kids. Hey, you on that
Joe's
Tic
gonna
Tac?
listen to Tic Tac videos on his
Yeah.
earbuds. Isn't that right, Joe?
Get ready. It's coming in 2026. That's happening. So yeah, subscribe to all those things, follow those things, follow us there. There's all kinds of video stuff that we want to do this year. And and then the Deuce stat of the week. So funny. We took
wait.
Oh, what do you got there? What is this?
Closing the book on
Oh, it goes in
2025.
the book. Very nice. I like that. Yeah, metaphorically and symbolically and
Before
for
we
real.
move to, because this Deuce stat of the week
No, I get it.
we're looking forward now.
Well,
You wanna give
the,
it to us?
my favorite part of us figuring out what the Deuce style of the week was this week is like we literally, like you and I have tried to take the last 2 weeks off, marginally as we're finishing all county and stuff. And like I have to scroll through. Derry's been retired for like a decade. And we scroll through our text messages of him sending us stats. And it's like, what did I say when we were doing this? Like Derry's been working harder than
Harder
me
than both of
like,
us
over the
combined,
break.
honestly. It's like
Um,
text from Derry is like, oh, here's a record we didn't know about. Here's some huge
Just
milestone
happened.
that's approaching.
So.
Just yeah, we cannot thank Derry Eads enough for everything.
Never mind
he
the fact
does.
that there was something that happened on Newside today that Derry tipped off on Newside. So, I mean, he's
The goat,
yeah, he's so
the
very helpful.
undisputed goat.
Thousand Oaks boys basketball, who you have seen in the flesh already, right?
Yep.
They
Saw
won
him
their
Saturday.
first 16 games of the season, the longest boys basketball winning streak by a county team since Oxnard won their first 16 straight in 2020, 2003-04. 2004 is how you say that. 2004
There you go.
03-04 season. Wow, brutal. But
Fun fact:
yeah, so
I have
there's
seen Thousand Oaks boys basketball play, and I have seen Oxnard boys basketball play in the last 3 days combined. So
there you go.
we have lots
Killing
to
it.
talk about in our basketball section.
There's
coming up.
somebody who's hitting the ground running, getting in the lane.
Yeah, I'm tracking. Yeah, I'm tracking all of the things going on.
Jesus.
Let's talk briefly
Yeah,
about
you give us so we had the Deuce segment. Give us the Catalini segment here.
This is
Our boss who makes these.
We're gonna start. We should start bringing these back. Talking about these athletes and talking about getting different ones on the show. The Ventura Orthopedic Athletes of the Week. On the girls' side is Sofia Fernandez, a player I have been getting to know a lot this season because she's a new kind of a new name on the scene. St. Bonaventure Junior, girls basketball player. The 5'8" junior helped the Seraphs stretch their winning streak to 8 games while extending a streak of her own. She has surpassed 20 points in 8 straight games as the Seraphs reached 8-1 on the season after losing its season opener. She had 28 points last Tuesday, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 4 steals in a 57-45 win. That says over St. Bonaventure. We gotta fix that. Over somebody.
That's tough. It was an inter-squad.
Yeah.
Um,
And she had 23 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals in an 82-32 win over Ridgeview at the Oxnard Winter Tournament. She's averaging 23.7 points. She's been on a team that has last year's Ventura County Basketball Coach Association Small School Player of the Year in Sarah Casillo, and also has a transfer talent in Alina Leon from Buena this season. She has been the single, Sofia Fernandez has been the single most important cog in making this Serifs team one of the best in the area. Added that scoring punch that was much needed.
Then on the boys' side this week, we had Justin Albert, Royal High senior, boys basketball star, 6-footer, helped the Highlanders win 3 games last week to improve to 8-6 on the season. On Tuesday, he poured in 22.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals in a win over Fillmore. On Saturday, he had 26 points in a win over Cabrillo. He had 18, 6, 3, and 2 in a win over Selma in the Atascadero tournament.
Very cool.
So that'll be something that we do now that we're back doing Athletes of the Week. We'll try to keep you guys updated on the Ventura Orthopedic Athletes of the Week, which comes out on vcstar.com every Monday.
Believe so.
Should be in every Tuesday, in the paper every Tuesday, I believe. And then, since it has been 3 weeks since we've potted,
let's refresh each other on what we missed. What do you know? What do I know that the other doesn't about what's been going on? You want to start with our all-county teams?
Yeah, we both worked really heavily on all county. I think it was fairly clear who our football players of the year would be. Jack Cunningham, who set the county record for receiving yards in a season, and it was second all-time in receiving touchdowns and receptions in a season, while leading Ventura to its first CIF state championship bowl. He was the deserving winner of our offensive player of the year, and Isaiah Phelps, who, let's be honest, was probably the most valuable player in Ventura County football this year, leading the best team locally to a 15-0 start, to its second straight CIF state championship bowl. Could have made an argument for him offensive player of the year. He was our defensive player of the year. Just 2 phenomenal players, finishing off 2 phenomenal seasons, and very worthy. And you could tell that those were the right picks, because when the coaches did their team,
that's always appreciated.
Cunningham was the MVP and Phelps was the defensive player of the year. So
yeah, and just 2 great kids, I should add as well. But just super high character kids. Great to talk to. And then on the girls volleyball side of things, we made some waves, I would say, picking a sophomore for this award. But in my mind, it was not. There was no contest. Sailor Halverson from Thousand Oaks she was a sophomore last season. I see you're squinting. Yeah, sophomore or freshman last season, sophomore this season.
Okay.
Yeah, made waves for Thousand Oaks. I went back when I was writing this feature trying to look for the last time we had even a non-senior as our player of the year, and I struggled to find as far back as Google would let me go. So, an incredible player. Sorry, go ahead.
Next time you want to figure that out, you just ask me.
Just ask you or
and
ask
get your
Derry,
real list.
Man. Yeah.
Ask Derry, that's right.
Yeah, forget about you. Ask Derry. Just an incredible player. Incredible hitter, moved around from middle to outside for TO whenever they needed, just to put relentless pressure on an opponent. They'd put her in the middle of the court, and she would just go to work. TO, arguably our best team this season, so huge year for her. The boys water polo player of the year was Jack Pointner from Buena. Very cool talking to him, hearing about kind of the legacy he leaves there, the latest in a long line of great water polo players for the Bulldogs, including, and some would say starting with, Nico Furneaux. One of the last Player of the Year features, I believe, that Lauren wrote for the Star was Nico Furneaux, who was a Canadian who came down. He stayed and lived with the Pointner family, is very close friends with Jack. They were cooking Thanksgiving dinner when Jack found out he was going to be the Stars Player of the Year. Full circle moment for those two. Very cool. And then our girls golf player of the year, Addison Klotch, goes from, looking for a soccer scholarship, wants to be a star soccer player at the next level, she, tears a ligament in her knee her freshman season in the playoffs against Oak Park. And then she just changes her whole outlook, goes on and gets a scholarship to Cal State Fullerton um, for golf. Just an incredible story with her. I love the details
While playing flag football.
while playing flag football and getting an all county nod from the Star. So another one of those incredible multi-sport athletes. Tell us about Ava.
Ava, so flag football is now 3 seasons old in Southern California, and Ava Ortman arguably is the best player in county history, maybe the best player in regional history. You could argue she if you had records 3 years in, she'd be the record holder for total offense, for passing yards, probably for touchdowns. Um, that's what happens when you lead the Southern section in total offense as a junior and a senior. Um, really it's been really fun to cover flag football these last couple of years because it's kind of like a pioneering type thing. I mean, you're talking about Ortman and Smitty from and Myra Smith of Camarillo and some of the other players who are going to play in college, but there's not those college teams haven't really been launched yet. So they're kind of in a holding pattern, waiting for the college kind of infrastructure to be laid out over the next year or two before they go. And, never mind the fact that, I mean, you're talking about Ortman and Smitty, these are players that if there's a WNFL soon, these are players
Yeah.
that could play in a WNFL.
Well
Um,
put.
because I mean, we've really had a lot of fun watching flag football. It's certainly entertaining. You could certainly throw that up on ESPN Plus and have a bunch of people watch it. People would watch a WNFL. And the way that Ava Ortman distributes the ball and can complete stuff over the middle, has a big arm that can throw the ball downfield. They both played in the Rams All-Star game. Ortman completed a pass to Smith, a touchdown pass to Smith in that Rams All-Star game,
Love it.
which was super
Writes
cool
itself.
moment for local football. Um, so yeah, I felt like, Ortman could have been our flag football player of the year last year. I felt like I had to pick her this year simply because of the her incredible 3 year performance. Smith, was also would have been a valid pick because I should mention Myra Smith real quick that she was an athlete, a receiver, a running back who shifted a quarterback when Camarillo lost their quarterback, and Camarillo was our best team. So she was very selfless in her performance. And I also I had girls tennis, and that was one of my favorite stories. Gianna Mucci of Calabasas. She was, as a freshman, the Marmoni League MVP as a singles player. She was arguably the best tennis player in the Marmoni League playing singles earlier in her career, and Calabasas kept coming up short. They had lost 3 straight CIF or 2 straight CIF championship games. And so her going into her senior year, she volunteered to play doubles and went out and with 2 different partners went 22-0
That's so cool.
and led the Coyotes to the Marmoni League Championship, led the Coyotes to CIF Championship, and she won with one of her partners the CIF Doubles Championship. So they were like the 8th seed, and they beat everybody. She went undefeated against the best competition in Southern California.
It's the beautiful thing
So that was
about team tennis at the high school level.
yeah,
It's so unique. Is you can, I mean, if you are a deep enough team, if you're number 2 singles player can play up in that number 1 spot against a lot of teams, you can shift things around
sure.
and have that selflessness that's actually going to help the team, not just be very, very cool.
It'll be interesting to see if she continues to play tennis going forward. I know she wants to stay in sports, and she's a potential, media major or journalism major. So she was talking about making that decision, whether or not she's going to continue to play tennis or whether or not she's maybe going to do something on a bigger campus, looking toward a career. So
Very
it
cool.
was nice to meet Gianna and cover that story. And then obviously you had our cross country
Yeah,
winners.
yeah, phenomenal cross country season. Oaks Christian's Vin Kruger becomes the first Lion on the boys' side to win a CIF Southern Section title. That earns him the honor of the Stars Player of the Year, Runner of the Year for cross country. He is a great story of just the incremental growth that can build an incredible runner. He started off running 19 minutes on that. Marmani League championship course as a freshman, and drops all the way down into the 14s this year. Like, seeing 5 minutes of time drop is just so incredible. And then, Alo Curtis, the story is just so, I talk about writing itself, is so clear. Sadie Englehart, she's, in the shadow of Sadie Englehart, helping alongside Sadie bring Ventura, all of these accolades and great team success. And Sadie graduates, and in Alo's senior season, she goes and runs, breaks a lot of Sadie's records on some of these courses. Runs the third or fourth fastest time on the state meet course in the history of girls cross country in California. So yeah, an incredible year for her, and she's off to Harvard next season.
Where? Just
Yeah,
Harvard?
Harvard College.
We got a couple crimsons. So, all right. So and then, we got two more. So yeah, I cover the National Foundation All-Star Game, which was we no longer have a Ventura County All-Star football game. Now, this year's wrinkle was that we essentially had one team. It was essentially Ventura County against LA County in football, in tackle football and flag football. As we kind of expected, Isaac Simpson and Matt Perez on the same defensive line was a problem for Los Angeles County. They were the MVP and defensive player of the game, respectively, in a shutout win over LA County. Gavin Gray-Agura threw 3 touchdown passes. The West, aka Team Ventura County, won 28-0. So that was a nice moment for Ventura County football. And then the flag football game was a lot of fun. The game was in the 40s. It was pretty disappointing because LA County scored twice in the last 6 minutes to steal the win, including a late 2-point conversion. It was kind of controversial. Was the player in? Was the player out? But
I gotta call John.
all in
Joe
all,
Curley, controversial.
yeah.
There's the play right there.
But
the controversy follows Joe.
In an all-star game, they didn't really complain, and so Addison Klotch scored 2 touchdowns in that game. Speaking of Addison, so that was
I just
that
want
was
to
a lot
know
of fun.
I want to know
to
if
cover.
Addison ever did a golf celebration after a touchdown. That would be cool.
That's a
That'd be really cool.
that's a good idea. And then give us one big basketball piece of news that happened over break.
That's easy, Joe. I have it right here in my rundown.
Nice.
Ventura High reaches 1,000 wins with a big lopsided victory over Pacifica. 1,000 wins in program history. They become the second girls basketball program in the state of California to reach 1,000 wins. Joe, do you know, without pulling it up, I hope you've read my story, do you know who the only other team in the history of California to reach 1,000 wins for girls basketball?
If I think really hard, I think blue and black and West County and Joe Vaughn.
Right here at home.
Yeah, it's Buena High.
The Buena Bulldogs.
The basketball capital, the high school girls basketball capital, the state of California is Ventura, folks.
Yeah, there's a possibility that I believe it's Berkeley High has reached 1,000 wins, but unconfirmed. They're missing some records. So the two confirmed programs to have reached 1,000 wins are two historic programs in the city of Ventura. So pretty cool.
And if you look at that, right, part of that is the fact that, not to take credit for Jovan and Ann Larson's success, but the fact that the Star was there, when you had Jim Parker and going back all the way, you had Star reporters Rhiannon Potke covering girls basketball in the city of Ventura is the reason why those wins are confirmed and the reason why that stat exists. You look at Berkeley, they're missing some records, and they're that's Berkeley's one of the top programs in the country,
Yeah.
historically. So, they probably have 1,000 wins, but they don't know. So anyway,
Let's speed run our
congratulations to Ann Larson and Ventura High basketball for a really special feat.
let's speed run our third period. Joe and I, for the readers, Joe and I were talking before the show, like are we gonna be able to do a full episode? 55 minutes in, we've reached third period.
And we're not gonna get all the way through, so we'll have to throw some of that basketball and soccer for next week, which we're gonna spend the next 6 weeks, 2 months talking those sports, so no problem.
So tell us
So
about your latest story, Joe.
Yeah, I jumped all over a story yesterday, my first day back from vacation, when we found out that Pacifica's Mike Moon, head coach of the football team there, um, was awarded the Los Angeles Rams Coach of the Year award at SoFi Stadium yesterday. There's literally a photo of him in the end zone holding an enormous check. So that's
Big
awesome. Um,
$9,500, I believe, was the that goes
It
to the
was
Pacific High program.
$9,500 donation to Pacific High football equipment, and it can't, obviously, so many schools. Yeah, I think that was in talking with Coach Moon. That was what he was really appreciative of was obviously the program can use that money. And so he was super happy about that. The other nominees for the award, Steve Bogan of Bonita, Matt Logan of Corona Centennial, Terrence Whitehead of Crenshaw, Jeff Grady of Edison, Patrick Vargas of Garfield, Ronald Coltrus of Hawkins, Raul Lara of a little program called Mater Day, Lance Mitchell of Pasadena Muir, and Charles Burnley of San Fernando. So that was really cool. Anytime Ventura County wins a regional award, that's great for Ventura County sports. And then as we're looking into this Mike Moon Award, we realized the Rams have already celebrated another local football coach over the weekend. Um, Rick Clausen was welcomed to the Rams facility in Woodland Hills. Um, on Friday, where he was surprised with the Don Shula NFL Coach of the Year nomination from the Rams. So every NFL team has nominates one of their local high school coaches for this award. Last year, John Hart of Brownsburg, Indiana, and Bill Jakelin of Slinger, Wisconsin, were the AFC and NFC recipients of the Big Don Shula Award last year. Um, I think the big news of this is the nominee, because they give out this award at the Super Bowl. So all these 32 nominees all get to go to Santa Clara. The Super Bowl is at 60 this year, Super Bowl 60. And so Rick's sitting on two Super Bowl tickets. He's got two brothers. He's got two daughters. I go, who's going to the game
One,
with you? And he goes, I have no idea.
two, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
Maybe.
that's right. Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, you
We'll
can't
video
split the
conference
daughters
you
up.
in, Rick. It's
Can't
cool. If
can't
you win
pick
it,
one.
if you win it, you can
That's
Zoom
right.
call in to accept it.
Can't pick one brother over the other. So who's the, I think Mr. Clausen I think the dad may end up getting the ticket, because I met him on the sidelines this year, and he was super proud of his son, who, obviously what they did at Westlake, going from 0-10 to 10-0, the second confirmed team in state history to ever do that, thanks to Cal High Sports. Just a phenomenal accomplishment. That award isn't just for football accomplishments, it's also for off the field stuff, which is why there's two different recipients for two different awards. And then, it's the end of the college football season.
Final segment.
We're in
Final
their
segment of the
they're in a
day.
playoff right now.
Yeah.
And so just some news coming out as the transfer portal. I just want to mention this. Former Oaks Christian star Stevie Amar, the pride of Oxnard, has left Boston College and entered the transfer portal. We'll see where the tight end ends up. Another Oxnard son, Rio Mesa's Chance Harrison, defensive back, big time player for the Spartans that we covered for a long time. He's left Colorado State and entered the transfer portal. Oxnard's Eli Aragon who went from Oxnard to Ventura College, where he was a big-time player, to I think he had 64 catches for almost 800 yards and 7 touchdowns at Western Illinois 2 seasons ago. From there, he went to Coastal Carolina, and now he's back in the portal looking for another gig. So Eli is going to go to 4 schools in 4 years, I think.
Wow.
Is that how the math? 3 schools in 4 years, something like that.
No, that makes 4.
I mean, just Dave.
If he winds up somewhere else, that's 4. Yeah.
David Boston type physical receiver. I mean, that's a big time college football talent. Also want to mention that Drew Cofield, that star from Newbury Park's Division II team 2 years ago, was named a freshman All-American at UC Davis. Had an awesome season there. And then we're talking about the transfer portal. We got a couple coaches who former St. Bonaventure defensive back Keegan Romero, who's the former recruiting coordinator at Ventura College. He's been hired as Cal Poly's director of player personnel, which, in the new age of college football is a big deal.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool that we have an Oxnard kid or an Oxnard adult, Oxnard professional from wow, in that role, because we want, it's really cool to have, I love to turn on ESPN Plus on Saturdays and turn on Cal Poly and see a bunch of our kids playing there. So I'm sure he'll be all over our local talent. And then former Ventura College offensive coordinator Ryan Clanton, who we followed all over the place since he left VC, has been hired as the Penn State offensive line coach.
Wow.
How's that for arriving at a big time program? So anyway, a lot happening. Glad to kind of speed run through that.
What a year! What a last couple of weeks! Like it's crazy. I'm glad that we got all that news out there so we can kind of move into the future, talk about all the stuff that you and I are working on. We are grinding away. This is a good opportunity to talk about the stuff that's going to be coming out soon. I've been grinding away, as all of the basketball coaches across Ventura County know, because I've been harassing them the last couple of weeks. I've been grinding away on our midseason player rankings. So, tune in the next couple of weeks to find out, who the Star believes are the top players in our region for both girls and boys, as well as team rankings that will start coming out for both boys and girls basketball and I believe soccer, Joe.
Yeah, boys and girls soccer as well. Yeah.
We will have team rankings rolling out on a weekly, bi-weekly basis. We'll see what that is. And then some record-breaking stuff on the girls' basketball side, which I will not say specifically, but some big news coming out as soon as I write that story.
Save it.
You guys will know.
And then also we had our polls did really well last year in the winter season, so I'm sure we will work really hard to get boys basketball, girls basketball, boys soccer, girls soccer, wrestling. We did all 5 of those polls last year, and we will. You will all have a chance to vote for your favorite candidates in the coming weeks. So VCStar.com, the Ventura County Star app, VCS Preps on social, subscribe, follow, interact, and let's go. Winter season, baby.
Couldn't have put it better myself. All right, y'all. Till next time.
Comes down to this for Thousand Oaks in their season. It is a gift to Martin. Martin gets the first down and more. It's a nice little screen to the left-hand side. One play and see ya later. Caldera dives into the end zone. Touchdown Oxnard. What a fitting way to end that run. He's at the 40. He's at the 20. 10.